Boom, we are live. Peace, y'all. It's your brother Cool. This is my mate,
Alisi,
and we want to build today on Scott. Walter Scott leading into Dredd Scott. Maybe I should say Dredd Scott leading into Walter Scott, which is literally a repeat of what happened in Dredd Scott. Now, I saw the video last night where Mother Scott was pretty much, had a little press conference after after taking the L, and then talking about this ain't over till Jesus till God
says it's
till
over.
God says it's over. I'm sorry,
What's that even mean?
Yeah, it's kind of, and even looking at the faces of the guys behind her, like, there was no light. That shit was gloomy as hell. Like, she's sitting there talking, I have the strength in me, and these dudes in the back, like, they're not buying that. They look defeated. They look defeated. No will anymore. It's been ripped out their chest. You know what I'm saying? And it's hard to continually buy into this Jesus bullshit. I'm sorry. That's just the truth of it. Until you recognize that you are God. So until you make the change, until you say no more,
right,
the shit ain't gonna happen no more. But if you're gonna wait for some nigga to come out the sky, I mean, shit.
Good luck.
Good luck. Miss Scott. Going into Miss Scott. The Dredd Scott case. Y'all niggas got shit so confused with that Dredd Scott case. The Dredd Scott case, right?
Recap it. What was the Dredd Scott case about? What was he trying to do?
First off, the Dredd Scott case was about an African man, maybe darker than me, went by the name of Dredd Scott. Okay? He was a slave. He was transferred to another state, or he escaped and went to another state. So when he escaped, within that new state, he wanted to reclaim a new status for himself as a free man. You see? Because he was in the previous state that he was held as under Captain 2 slavery. See what I'm saying? So when he went into the new state, he wanted to proclaim himself as a free man. So, went to trial. You know what I'm saying? To proclaim his self as a free slave, you know what I'm saying, without no master. Only one problem. His name was Dredd Scott. He looked like me. His name was Dredd Scott. Can we look up the name Scott?
Yes.
Please, baby, can you read out loud?
The last name Scott, this famous surname, has unusual origin. Although widespread in Scotland and most of England from the medieval period, it actually...
You said widespread through where again?
Scotland and England, most of England.
Alright, you keep going.
It actually derives from the Old English pre-7th century word Scotty.
So in a nutshell, Scott is an English word. Now, if you have read on the Dredd Scott case, you'll know why that case didn't go through. Plaintiff in error. Who was the plaintiff? Dredd Scott. What did Dredd Scott look like? You and me. Where was Dredd Scott born? On the American continent. Why is his last name Scott? That name is used profoundly where? In which area again?
Scotland and most of England.
Scotland and most of England. Last time I checked, Scotland ain't over here in America. England ain't over here in America. Unless you're talking about the 13 colonies. So, once again, Mother Scott. Walter Scott. That name is an English name that derives from Ireland. So now, let's understand constitutional principles. Honor thy mother and thy father. You can't get no basic than that. That is the #1 rule for every being on this planet. If you want rights or justice, you have to be in honor of those who came before you. So guess what? The ones who came before you weren't roaming around through Ireland and Scotland. Mother Scott. They were rolling over here in the Americas.
And so tell the people, right? Is law based on morals?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Not. It's not. So it's not based on morals, right?
It is.
The reason that all these cases keep getting the same result, there's not going to be any cops acquitted for killing black people, right? Because based on previous law, based on the Dredd Scott case, that's what they're basing that off of. That according to law, he wasn't a man. So how can you be a free man, let alone a man, let alone get any justice in a system that is already, it's not based on morals. It's not based on right and wrong and how they're playing. It's not.
Well,
you know? They're not playing based on right and wrong.
Right. They're playing the game that we're playing. We're playing the black and Negro colored game. So yes, in that game, there is no law. However, if you're not playing that game, there's something higher than that called trust law. And within trust law, there's something called equity. When you look at the term equity in law, it means fairness. So I don't deal in statutes or I don't even have to deal in constitutional. You see what I'm saying? I deal in equity because I am in honor of my ancestors. My name does not derive. Oh, by the way, before I nationalized and proclaim who I was, the last name I went by was Jules. Would you mind looking up the name Jules for me, babe? Jules. Okay? Jules. That was the name I went by. So we're going to find out exactly where the family origin of the name Jules derives from.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, it is French. It is from a personal name, Latin Julius. The name was born in the Middle Ages in honor of various minor Christian saints. In English,
Yeah.
Patronymic or metronymic from a short form of Julian.
So, bottom line, name is English. It derives from Julius. What's the first person you think of when you hear the name Julius? Because in my mind, it's Caesar. Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar. Greek, which would also be European. Once again, my ancestry comes from Haiti or Amaria. So, once again, I was walking around with Jules as my brand. So yes, there'll be a point if when I was still walking around as Jules and things like that happened to me in the streets where I used to just get undercover cops, you just roll out their car, lift your shirt. You wearing anything, you strapped, couldn't do shit. Violated all the time. Why? Because I had no national principle of myself. I created that because I was going by something that didn't reflect to me. This is why Walter Scott's mom is going through what she's going through right now. It didn't even make it to court. It didn't even make it to trial. They didn't even say it was worth looking at. It's not even worth looking at. Do you understand why? Because according to Black's Law Dictionary, when you look at the term colored, there is no technical specification to the term colored that the courts are bound judicially to know. That means if you come in there with that black African American colored shit, or you're a plaintiff in error, meaning you're walking around clearly from the American continent, but for some reason you have European names. You have a European surname on you. So now, are you going to tell me that I am obligated, if I was a judge, to give you rights when you're running around with someone else's name? And you're not standing square on your own ancestral name that ties you back to where your feet is at? This is not Europe. This ain't Ireland. This ain't England. You know what I'm saying? You got to give those European names back. You will not get justice in those names. So, Miss Scott, that's the reality of what happened. That's the reality of what's happening now. It didn't go to trial. The same way Eric Garner didn't go to trial, Trayvon Martin didn't go to trial, Rice ain't go to trial. Corinne Gaines ain't go to trial. So if y'all not seeing a pattern by now, y'all just gonna get wiped out. Because if you can't notice it and set yourself up to start protecting yourself, you're gonna be wiped out. There's no place historically anywhere in history records. I've read numerous of treaties. I promise you, I have not seen not one treaty when they're talking about black people. Not one treaty when they're referencing African Americans. Not one.
Zero.
Not one. So what that tells me is black people don't exist. And if you don't exist, did you really get killed? Did Walter Scott really get killed? Because he doesn't exist. Not as a human being. Because he is walking around with the name Scott. That belongs to a family in Europe, Ireland, Scotland. So anything he's doing in terms of business under that name, guess who's reaping the rewards and the benefits? That family. Is that his family? Nope. This is why black people can't own shit. Because we're running around with other people's names. So Scott literally has a foot on the back of the necks of that family. That's their property. They're the property of Scott. The same way I was once the property of Jules. You got to give it back. The reason why it didn't make it to trial is because as a minority, which is what you're seen as if you're operating under someone else's family title that doesn't belong to you, you're seen as a minority because you're not thinking right. You're not thinking right.
And tell them, does minority have anything to do with numbers? Minority and majority?
No, minority and majority has absolutely nothing to do with numbers. And whoever told you guys that, you need to slap them in the face. Because they just straight lied to you. Minority has everything to do with your mental state. Minor. Yeah. Right? Minor. Whenever you see ITY at the end of a word, it means state or condition of. Mm-hmm. So, minority. The state or condition of thinking like a minor. Yep. Even if you're an adult. This is why you can be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. You still calling yourself black African American, you're a minor. You're still a baby. Won't go to trial. You won't be recognized. You won't be respected. According to law. What? And now mind you, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you know, it's the white man system. They made this shit up. No, he did not. The white so-called man is only 6,000 years old. He's the newest thing on the fucking planet. We are the oldest thing on the fucking planet. So you're going to tell me that the baby derived everything from scratch when there was shit here already? No, this is our laws. We made sure to have in place that no one disrespects their ancestors. That they always be in tune with who they are and where they come from. Now, some things have been put in place where people who look like us have thrown us in the box. They've thrown us in the box and they put chains on us. They look just like us. It's not a white man thing. It's not a white man thing. The white man can't think at a high enough level to put us in a box. It can only be someone who is at our state or higher. So essentially, the real enemy looks like you and me. It's not a racism thing. White man, oh, the white man, white power. Distractions. At the top, there's a melanated brother or sister. Or a melanated family. Whatever. I don't care. It's unfortunate what's happening to families out here. But guess what? I can only take care of what I can take care. And that is me. And I can help that which is in my immediate surroundings. But I'm trying to give y'all the jewels as to why shit is going down like it's going down. You have no constitutional rights walking around doing business in another man's name. We are the Aborigines of this continent. So, if you choose to be anything other than that, then guess what? When your rights get violated, you have no rights to sue. Mm-hmm. According to the 14th Amendment, you can't go against the United States. That's why it didn't go to trial. Who does the policeman work for? The United States. The police department works for the United States. The judicial authorities work for the United States. Ain't that a conflict of interest? Do you still really need to wonder why they make it to court? There's fraud going on all over the place, and we are also participating in it. It's not like we're clean and then the other side is guilty. We are not just, therefore we are not receiving any justice because we are not right.